So in 12th chapter, Lord Krishna talks about Bhakta as somebody who brings Ishvara in one's life in many, many different aspects. And as you begin to do some specific things, there is a cumulative effect of that and you transform as a person, right? So life doesn't work with linear progression. You initiate few specific things in different areas, and over a period of time, everything comes together and culminates into you being a different person altogether. So then after having talked about some specific initiatives that you take, then he talks about the person you become. The person that you become, there is no resentment towards anybody else. That's a very big thing, right? It's just the attitude now. It's no longer what you do at a given point in time. This is who you become. This is who you are as a person. So what it means is the resentment goes away. Then you are comfortable with people. People are comfortable with you. Then you go through whatever sukha and dukkha, which is part of life, right? With a certain composure, without complaints. So this is the person you become, right? So now let's look further. Who is this Bhakta? Verse number 16. Anapeksha shuchir dakshaha udasino gadavyataha sarvarambha parityagi yo madbhaktas same priyaha. Okay. So, who wants to read verse number 16? Yeah.
The one who is completely satisfied, who is always united, who has mastery over his mind, whose ascertainment is firm, whose mind and intellect are resolved in me, who is needy both.
No, this is not the verse.
Number 16.
Oh, it's
Number 16.
Sorry. The one who has no dependence is clean, able, and neutral, from whom fear has gone, who has completely given up all emissions of actions, and who is my devotee is beloved to me.
Okay, so let's look at some of these things. The one who has no dependence. So dependence is a very big issue, and what it means is dependency can be on an object, dependency can be for a person, and what it means is you somehow tell yourself that without this person I can't be happy. So this creates emotional dependency. Some people have physical dependency. Physical dependency means sometimes, I was just telling some of them that people who I know, and they are 50 years old, but they are unable to go from Bombay to Alibag, which is just across the ocean. 15 minutes by speedboat or a normal ferry is 45 minutes. But they are unable to do it. They are unable to be just alone. It's incredible how protected people somehow are. Physically they are always dependent upon somebody being with them at all times. They can't be alone. They can't just enjoy themselves. So sometimes nowadays it's not the person that we are dependent upon. We are dependent upon mobile. 5 minutes we can't do without mobile. So I had one lady. She was very kind of famous and a very privileged. I mean, everybody knows her in Bombay. So she didn't want to come to my group class. So she said, I want a private class with you. So initially I said, no. Then I thought maybe, person of that level, if she learns, perhaps, the teaching can reach through her many people. So I kind of agreed. And every 5 minutes she looks at phone. Every 5 minutes. And it's one-to-one class. So after 3 turns, I just said, yeah, really, I don't have time, and I got out of it. But what it means is so much as though the whole world, as though you have some most important things to do and your attention is required right now, you need to take care of things. Habit, dependence, can't do without it. So people, objects, things, and you just, this is almost like an addiction. I can't be just with myself, enjoying myself. I always need something or the other. And that little bit shows a certain discomfort that, one has with oneself. That one feels one is incomplete unless one is doing something, or engaging with something, or occupied with something. So this kind of a dependency, very consciously we have to free ourselves from. It's not about using it or not using it, but doing it deliberately. It's not like we are drawn to it and then we lose our, So this, and also dependency on people. So there are some relationships which are intimate relationships. So I remember when I was young, so when I first heard about death, it was so shocking for me because I could not imagine living in this world without my father. Because I loved my father, but I couldn't even conceive what would it be like. So what does it mean? You cannot imagine your existence without somebody. Dependency. Then you have to manage, right? Everybody that you loved very much. In fact, if you think about it, how many years are you given with all your most loved ones? At the most, how many years? In countless flow of time, how much time do you have with them? Approximately. So I have a friend. So it's very interesting how a human being is, right? So her kids, she lives in Bombay and her kids live in the US, both her kids. So she tells me that she right now maybe is nearing 60, not yet 60. And she says maybe for 20 more years she is going to be healthy. So 80 she can expect that she can travel and whatever. So then she says, I can go to the US once a year and they can come and see me once a year. So in 20 years, how long will I see my kids? 2 times a year, so 40 times. Then she says, my God, I love my kids so much and I will only see them 40 times. And she's depressed. What? But actually it's interesting calculation. Nobody calculates like that. But what it shows is, whoever you love very much, in Ishvara's order, 50, 60 years, that's why Golden Jubilee means it's huge. 60 years in a countless flow of time is a flicker. But how much dependency we develop as though, and we can't even sometimes distinguish, there is hardly any boundary between you and the other person. So, there is one thing, and that this Indian wedding ritual, it's a very sane and a practical ritual. The wedding ritual. So, generally when you get married, what is, at least at the time of the marriage, what is your thinking? This person is going to satisfy all my needs. This is love of my life. This is going to, be, this relationship will last forever. But what is the wedding ceremony about? There is a wonderful ritual during the wedding ceremony, and that is called Kashi Yatra. And what is this Kashi Yatra? Just before the wedding, the groom has a cold feet. And this is an enactment. I don't know if your marriage had that, but we did South Indian marriage it's actually enacted. So what it means is that just before the wedding, which is just the day before, while the rituals are going on, one of the ritual is, now the groom gets the cold feet and he says, I'm going to Kashi. What is Kashi? Place for moksha. So he takes his book and he says, this life with somebody is going to be a huge entitlement. I'll get carried away, once you have wife, then you have kids, then you have this, then you have that, and it's just too much. When will I have time to study? When will I have time to contemplate? So now he doesn't want to marry and he wants to go to Kashi. And he goes to the bride's father and says, sorry, I'm going to Kashi. And the bride's father tells that, oh, I understand that you want moksha. But don't worry, even my daughter wants moksha. My daughter doesn't think you're the end. What does it mean? For both of them, what is the end? Moksha. Each other is not the end. But then why are they together? Then he tells this bridegroom that I guess each one of us is looking for moksha. My daughter will not come in your way. She will support you in your journey. And you, in turn, support her for her journey. What does it mean? The relationship, such a big relationship like marriage, starts with non-dependency. You don't see this person as an end. You see this person as a means to an end. No person can be an end in itself. That is entitlement. We have seen that. No object can be an end. We have seen that. So from the beginning, you are clear that the end is what ultimately you have come to discover. It's the whole life is an equation between you and Ishvara. Within that, everything else, everybody comes. You have roles to play. Things get done through you. You show your love. You show your care. It's not like you do everything mechanically. You play your roles and you play them really well, but no individual becomes an end in itself, or no object becomes an end in itself. It's very clear that moksha is the end. Non-dependency. Non-dependency doesn't mean you don't show love, you don't show care, but there is no entitlement. Everybody has their own place. It's not, boundaries are not crossed. Emotional boundaries are not crossed. So that means it actually leads to beautiful behavior. And what is that? Love without control. Love without jealousy. Love without possessiveness. That means it's just love. All these insecurities don't come in the way. So sometimes it's interesting, when people just normally talk, they give away so much. So a friend of mine, she was telling me, I'm giving you examples because I want you to understand what does dependency mean. How does it translate in our behavior? What do we do? It's not like, oh, don't have dependency. Oh, moksha is the goal, Ishvara is the thing, let's move forward. No. How people get entangled. Right? She says, she came to me and she says, yeah, it's becoming a little bit of a problem because my husband is an extrovert and he loves to go out and party and be with many people and all. But I am much more now into studies, contemplation, reading books, thinking about things. So what do I do? Because that creates a little bit of a friction. So I told her that it's not like one thing or the other. So you choose per event. One day you feel like going with him. One day you feel like sitting at home. It's not like you have to sit here and decide whether you are going to go with him for all the parties or you are never going to go for parties. It's not black and white. You give yourself a little flexibility and take it as it comes organically, right? It's not like either you have to go for everything or you don't have to go for everything. Take it as it comes, what interests you. One day you may feel like going, one day you may give yourself that freedom. What she tells me is, if I allow him to go to parties alone, maybe he'll find somebody else. Very interesting. That thought did not come to my mind. I said, wow. What does it mean? What is this relationship based on? Two mature people giving them enough freedom to pursue what they want. They are together, they show love to each other, there is sharing, there is caring. But two mature individuals, they don't have to be stuck together. And stuck together all the time. And then what? And the little apart, oh, that person may waver and go somewhere else. That's why, because you want to stick and stick and stick, you can't give freedom to each other. Then you get one day, you are so saturated with this person. Because you don't know how to give little relative distance. All the time stuck together. Then it is too much. Then, as Swamiji says, darling, we need some space. Because it's too much. It's a polite way of saying, now you're getting on my nerves. So, what it means is finding your own place and not getting lost in any relationship. Amanta, you can only do it. It's so hard to do. You only can do it if you find a more fundamental relationship. And your life becomes that relationship, and everybody is placed within that relationship. So what Swamiji used to tell us is, yes, you have to play many roles, and every role has a challenge. Mother, fathers, brother, sister, employer, employee, parent, every role has a problem. But you bring one fundamental relationship. You are a devotee father, you are a devotee mother, you are a devotee son, you are a devotee daughter, you are a devotee employee, you are a devotee employer, you are a devotee citizen. What does it mean? All the other roles are variable. They are specific to a person. But there is one fundamental relationship which is not variable. and that is your relationship with the total. That cannot be replaced because all the individual roles that you play are within that total. And more you understand, ultimately your life is about an individual relating to the total, and in that relationship, different characters come, different characters exit, and you have to play every role to the best of your ability, because in that is your growth. Through those playing roles well, you grow as an individual. You begin to be caring, you begin to be compassionate, you begin to give in, you begin to be accommodative. This is all growth. There is today in that hall, and do you read? There's Swamiji's quotes are there in the Anugraha living room. Every day there is a quote. And today's quote or tomorrow's quote is that any pursuit of knowledge, bhakti, anything that you do, ultimately, what is the goal? You become a mature person. That is a precondition. Knowledge cannot take place without a certain maturity, certain objectivity. Dharma requires certain objectivity, maturity. Dealing with emotions requires certain maturity, not overpush, nor be lax. Ultimately, one thing is non-negotiable, and that is your maturity, your ability to handle things objectively. And that everything will get its right place only when you bring the most fundamental role, which is what? Fundamental, not role, relationship. Individual with the total. That is your life journey. So, non-dependency is a very subtle thing. It's not about leaving everyone and not interacting with everyone, but giving every relationship its right place, and giving every person its right place, not getting carried away with anything. So, anapeksha shuchihi. Shuchihi, the cleanliness in the book Value of Values, Swamiji talks about this value of cleanliness, shaucham, and he brings about 4 aspects in shaucham. First is freeing yourself from self-centeredness. What is self-centeredness? Our natural tendency is to see the situation from our perspective. That is the most natural thing to do. What's in for me? Is it advantageous to me or not? Does it suit me or not? This is what everybody does. But if you keep thinking only about that, what happens? Others' interests you don't consider, and the impact your actions will have on others is overlooked. So, shaucham means deliberately what? Yes, you have a point of view and you have a given perspective to that situation, but deliberately trying to bring to your mind that there is not just one person involved in this situation, there are multiple people involved, and what will this action do to interest of others? That makes you a mature, clean person. That doesn't mean you don't pay attention to your perspective. But your perspective is not the perspective. It is one of the perspectives. And then that is having little bit of a bird's eye view in a situation and not only looking at the situation from your standpoint. And then if you can rise up a little bit and see that, hey, this situation has many characters and the actions will have many impacts, many spillovers, many impact. Then, given that, what is the best choice of action? So that means everything is not done for your gratification. That ability to see others' point of view and to make choices which are in the interest of everybody. Shaucha. The second thing he talks about in the book Shaucha, about Shaucha, and that is freedom from resentment and hatred. Shaucha. Because we carry people and what they did to us, and we keep ruminating and we keep playing tape. And it goes on and on and on and on and on, and it contaminates us. It makes us unhappy as human beings. We ourselves lose our objectivity and freedom to make choices which are fresh. That is ashaucha. The third ashaucha he talks about is self-criticism. There is a voice within us, we don't realize it, which keeps giving us the message that you are not good enough. Oh, I can't speak. So I have to tell you a story. I have many, many stories because I observe, I learn from life. So I have a class, and how I make you read the translation or whatever. So, and when the in-person class, I would make people take turns. They start from here and they go. So it's not like one person is always burdened with saying and others are just sitting like that, right? So everybody has to participate. It's simple. Now, one lady, she every time her turn came, she would dodge. And she would say, oh, today I don't have the book. Then next day she says, oh yeah, I forgot my glasses. Then third day she says, oh, yeah, today my throat is not good. So she never said, and she always tried to avoid. Then one day I asked her, because it was not normal, right? I mean, the way she was acting, I could see that something is amiss. So I told her that, I've been noticing that you never actually, one thing or the other, every time there is something or the other, you never actually say. You know what she told me? She said, now she was from South India and she was in Bombay. And she got married and she came to Bombay. So a few times, she spoke English extremely well, but a few times she pronounced the words in a certain way and people laughed at her. What is she telling herself now? If I read and if I pronounce something incorrectly, people will laugh at me. This is stuck to her head. There is a voice in her which doesn't allow her to read a simple verse. When did that event happen? Maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And where is it now? In her head. And what is her message? I can't read well. And she has completely eliminated for herself the possibility of just being able to read is simple. What kind of complexes? You can't read 3 sentences. What? What I told her is, you know what, these Indians from South Bombay, who told you that her accent is not good enough? You go and ask American, what accent do they have? These South Bombay people. The Americans will say, oh, they have an Indian accent. It's not like they have some supreme English or anything. The British would look down upon them and say, oh no, this is Indian way of speaking. The Australians speak yet another way. So, there are some crazy 2-3 people who have some little, they're little, crazy. And they give you this complex and you internalize. And you tell yourself, I'm not able to read properly. Do you understand this self-criticism, the way it works? And I just told her, I said, you know what? Surya has French accent. And most of the time, he exaggerates his French accent. So everybody loves it. He doesn't have any complex. He doesn't speak like those Indians who live in South Bombay. In fact, his French accent gets him very far. And he's very proud not to speak like Indians. The minute he opens his mouth in his SPJ, all the Indians, all these young, they are all, so they are fascinated by him. Because here there is one prof who doesn't sound Indian at all. And they all love him, like, where are you from, sir? Most people give feedbacks, but we internalize the feedbacks. And we suffer, and we keep criticizing, and we keep limiting ourselves. Self-critical voice. Now she has concluded, I can't read. People will laugh at me. She doesn't allow her the freedom to be able to read 3 sentences. Complex. Complexes within complexes within complexes. Somebody told you wrinkles are not good. Then what? Yesterday they were all talking, I come to know. There are 3 options. One is Botox, the other is silicone, and the third is what? Facelift. I have a complex. I have wrinkles. I'm old. Self-criticism, self-non-acceptance, self-inadequacy takes so many different forms. And so many times we keep repeating these messages of inadequacy. And we limit ourselves so much. We think world is giving us a hard time, and the biggest thing which is giving you a hard time is your self-talk to yourself. Somebody said something, if I give importance to that, then I'm shaken. Hey, yeah, this person is what? I myself at that time diffuse it. What, does the Japanese Prime Minister speak like South Bombay person? Does a Korean Prime Minister speak like South Bombay person, what are you talking about? Everybody speaks with their own native whatever. For English is native language for nobody. They all speak with their own little flavor. And so what's the big deal? But instead of bringing that fact, they get all intimidated. Oh my God, I don't speak well. So, all this, one thing will give you a lot of freedom, and that is recognize that self-critical voice within you and turn it into nurturing voice. Nurturing voice where you see yourself as not some ordinary human being. You see your worth, but not exaggerated, but see your worth. Because you are, and that is the truth, you are one of the manifestations of Ishvara. You have come with innate talents, innate skills, innate abilities, resources, goodness. Everything is given to you as a potential. But if you keep putting all the time messages of inadequacy, when will you use those potentials? When will you unleash all these things which are lying within you, just waiting to be blossomed, all gone? So, this is the third uncleanliness, which is self-criticism. And what is the fourth uncleanliness? Jealousy. What is jealousy? At one point or the other, all of us have been subject to jealousy. And what does it mean? See, jealousy is an interesting phenomenon. It is deluding. Why? Because you see somebody else and actually you admire what they have. If you did not admire what they have, you will not be jealous of them. Either you admire their looks, or you admire their skills, or you admire their position, or you admire who they are married to, or whoever, whatever it is. But you admire something about them. Otherwise you won't be jealous. But what interestingly happens is, as you admire them and you see them high, what happens to your smallness that we are all born with? It gets exaggerated. Your normal smallness you are able to manage a little bit. You know how to cope with it. But now, with somebody shining, your smallness becomes little more than normal. So now, that produces a lot of discomfort. So your mind finds a way to come back to its normal operation, which is also small, but at least manageable. What is the quickest way to free yourself from that little additional smallness? What is the quickest way the mind finds? Bring the person down. Criticize that person. Oh yeah, this person, she looks beautiful because she has done what? Facelift. Or she's all the time trying to impress others. Or, oh yeah, he got promotion because he's constantly, being overly nice to the boss. What does it mean? And just admiring somebody is, you can't. But what is interesting is, if you did not admire the person, you would not be jealous. So what this mind does is, that very thing that you admire, you don't recognize that you actually admire, and you don't act on your real feeling. You convolute it and you criticize the very person and devalue what that person has, so that you can feel normally abnormal, that you're used to.
But after that you will criticize yourself for criticizing them.
Yeah, in fact, nobody does that. Because nobody actually tells oneself, actually here my problem is jealousy. Everybody stops at, oh, this person did this, and oh, she is just overly this thing, or he is manipulating the boss. That's where it stops. We don't even reflect to and acknowledge that we have jealousy. So, how do you, but we do feel jealous. So how do you correct it? So as Swamiji said, very simple, act on the reality. What is the reality? You admire. So act on that. Go and tell that person, I think you're really beautiful. Because that's what you really think. If you act on what your real feeling is, what do you do? Tell me. You don't give yourself an opportunity to distort your thought processes. You've acted on the fact. And you will see, if you go and tell that person you look really nice, or you're successful, or you are intelligent, or whatever you feel about that person, how will that person respond? With sense of superiority? No. Most of the time, when you say something nice to the person melts. That person reaches out to you. That person becomes friendly. Because everybody likes to be admired. So this whole relationship which is based on jealousy, what has happened? There is a certain friendliness. You've converted smart, intelligent interventions. And then if you think you really admire this quality, what keeps you from working towards it? And you don't have to compare yourself to that person. Even the fact that now you are using your mind constructively to work for things that you value, and you are engaged, you don't have time to derail and criticize others. And you're honest and you're truthful. So what does it mean? All these convoluted thinking processes, we have to recognize and we have to straighten them. Because convoluted thinking processes create delusion. Over a period of time, you lose track. You like it or you don't like it. Because deep inside you like it, but externally you are criticizing it and you are convincing yourself that there is some fault here. You are confusing. Your cognitive capacities are made what? All mixed up. You lose track of what is the truth. This is why what happens is, as Swamiji used to say, the whole 10th chapter is about what? Wherever you see any glory, see it as Ishvara's vibhuti. There is jealousy. And that is the truth. And everybody and whoever has that glory, is not it has just come like that. That person has worked for it. So admire it. And if you want it, work for it. What keeps you from working for it? So these are all the ashauchas that we have to take care of. Right? Straighten our thinking processes. So, Sarvarambha Parityagi. What does it mean? Look at this. The translation is, who has completely given up all initiation of actions. What does that mean to you? This is not from anywhere. This is from this book. What does that mean to you? What could it mean? Sarvarambha Parityagi. So, what it means is that the actions that you perform, right? There is one thing that happens over a period of time when you don't have very strong raga and dvesha. I have to have this or I cannot have this. When you don't have such strong opinions, what happens is the mind becomes open to the clues that the order gives you. And you respond to that. So very often we used to see how Swamiji operates, because we lived with him for so many years. And he would initiate something. And then he would initiate, but he didn't have this whole thing, this has to happen and this is what I want, and he didn't have that. So he would take a given step forward and he will see how things evolve. He will leave it open for a while. And as things evolve, then he gets his own clues and then he takes yet another initiative. So what is he doing? He's not operating only from his will. His will is aligned with Ishvara's order. He's taking clue and then he's not passive. He makes his own moves, but he also waits for some clues to come. So what does it mean? Your free will and Ishvara's order are all moving together. And what happens? Suppose you are a boatman and you are only focused on your skills. I have learned how to ride the boat. And you're just, I have to do it. And then what is going to be your ride? And when you're alive to the flow of the river, the whirlpools, you are alive of the direction the wind is, and when you are aware of all of this and then you are riding, what is going to be your ride like?
It's a flow.
Much more of a flow. It's not that you totally negate your free will. It's not. But your free will is not operating from these individual pressures.
It's a bit more about listening.
It's more about being in harmony and seeing what's coming, because Ishvara is not a dead, this universe is not dead. Steel and wood and stones. The whole universe is nothing but manifestation of knowledge and power. It is constantly giving you some feedback. Are we open to that feedback, or we are just caught in our own little world and I want this and I want this has to happen and I'm going to, you don't take clues. So I'll give you an example. So every example helps. So there was this couple, and the wife had a business, fashion business, and the wife passed away. So the husband loved his wife. So he said, oh, now, in memory of my wife, I'm going to take this business. But he didn't have the eye of his wife. So he hired some professionals to select, what to procure and what kind of, what to sell or whatever. But the professionals he chose or whatever, they were not as good as his wife or whatever. But he had one thought: I cannot leave this business because it is my tribute to my wife. But over a period of time, what happened is neither he had skills, all those professionals were very motivated. The company was going down, but operating from one thought. And what is closing is not an option. Why? Because I am doing this service for my beloved wife. What does it mean? Operating only, even though it's a noble thought, operating only from that thought. Clues are coming in. The situation has changed. The wife is no more. He is not able to do it. The other professionals are not that successful. Finances are depleting. The debts are increasing. But you don't take these clues. You're just invested in one thing. Then somebody told him that, yeah, you love your wife, but it doesn't mean that you have to keep incurring losses. Give it another expression. That lack of flexibility, right? This is what I want at any cost. Anyway, it's a noble thought. And closing yourself to all the clues which are coming. Sarvarambha Parityagi means you consciously decide that actually, my life. Ultimately, your goal is not any given thing. This is about what? The person who's searching for Shreyas. And what does it mean? Anyway, any given end is not an end for you. But you have to still do things. You can't not do things. But having what? Flowing with Ishvara's order. See what is coming. And be that there is a certain malleability. There is a certain flexibility. You are not just invested. This is what I want. And no matter what, that those pressures go away. Right? So, Sarvarambha Parityagi Yoman Bhakta Same Priyaha. So what is happening in reality? There is a consciously you decide to use your free will and align it to Ishvara's order consciously.
Not so easy.
Huh?
It's not so easy.
It's not so easy. But you have to try.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next verse. Yo na hyushyati na tveshti na shochati na kamshati shubha shubha parityagi bhaktimanya same priyaha. Okay. Who wants to read?
The one who does not get elated is not hostile, does not grieve, does not desire, who has completely given up good and bad karma, who has devotion, is beloved to me.
Okay, so now here it seems like a totally unrealistic person, right? Like, who is this person? Can there be a person like this? So what we have to do is to make sense, right? So the person does not get elated. So what does it mean? Is Lord Krishna telling you to just modulate your emotions in a way that you avoid elation and depression? Is that what he's saying? Is giving you an advice like that? No, he can't be doing that. So what it means is, very often, right, being happy is something that everybody wants. But very often your elation comes from comparing yourself to others. So what it means is, a friend of mine, her daughter got married to a very good person. But when she was talking about it, the way she was talking about it is, I'm so glad my daughter found this amazing guy. You know, her cousin is still struggling. What is the need to talk about the cousin who is struggling? And because she is struggling and my daughter found somebody nice, therefore I'm happy. What is wrong with this? It seems very natural. Okay, her cousin is still struggling and my daughter found somebody good and I'm really happy. You can just stop it. I'm so happy my daughter found somebody good. Where is the need to bring in the cousin and she's struggling? Why your pleasure is connected to somebody's not doing well? That is not needed. So that means if you give yourself, this so-called extra pleasure by putting others down, that is unhealthy. Just be happy. There is nothing wrong with being happy, but be happy for right reasons, not for wrong reasons. So these small things. One thing that I hear, and Swamiji also used to say, that people tell their children that you eat food in your plate because there are people in Africa who are starving. Where is the connection between African kids who are starving and food in your plate? Suppose you don't eat it, is it going to go to Africa? And if you eat, are they going to be having food? Where is it? Where is the logical connection? The child only feels bad. There is no other outcome. So, all these mindless statements, right? Or, thank God, we are so privileged. So many people do this. And one friend, she had some hurt, right? She fell and she had hurt. Oh, thank God, it's only this. A friend of mine, she did her biopsy and she has cancer. So good, I only got away with this. What? What is the source of your pleasure? Somebody else is suffering more and you are relatively suffering less. You can just stop, you can finish the food in your plate for the right reason. Not because somebody in Africa is starving, but seeing the magic of Ishvara. How the food is produced intelligently. The sun participates, the plants participates, the water participates, everybody prepares food for you. The trees drawing from the energy of the sun give you different nutrients. So that all the different nutrients that your body needs, all these different trees produce and you can have it. For that you have to be thankful. And for that there is Taittiriya Upanishad, Annam Nanindhyat. Be respectful towards the food and nourishes your body. Don't see it as your enemy. So the first time I was really surprised. So in food in India, our relationship with food, at least when I was growing up, is healthy. We love food, we enjoy it. First time I went to the US, I saw the relationship with food is guilt. Oh, if I eat this, I'll take 2 kilos and have to run to the gym. It's almost like you are scared. There is this enemy there who's going to make you fat. This food is Ishvara's manifestation. It is given to you so that you can nourish yourself, so that you can live, so that your mind and body is nourished. You can engage and do what needs to be done. Reverential relationship with food. Food is not your enemy, it's a blessing from Ishvara. Annam nadindya tadvatam apova anna jyotirannava. Taittiriya Upanishad. This food is produced with all these factors: water, Agni, all to nourish me, so that I can undertake my journey and get whatever I have to do. All this small thing, the Vedic culture is an incredibly reverential culture. You see the magic of Ishvara everywhere. You don't tell yourself, oh, this person is suffering more and I'm suffering little less, so I'm very happy. What? What kind of thoughts are these? See the glory, see the generosity in the universe, see the magic the whole universe is helping you in your journey. Forces, planets, everybody participates so that you can achieve what you want while you are on this earth. This is something that our pleasures have to come from right reasons, not wrong reasons. Putting people down and saying, oh, I'm better off. That is not a right reason to be happy. Okay, so then Shubha Shubha Parityagi. Generally what happens is we immediately when results come, we label it as success or failure. Success if it is equal or more than you expected, and failure if it is less or opposite of what you expected. So what happens is, immediately as something comes, if this is, your definition is, that every time things do not go your way, it is a failure. How many times have you failed? How many times things did not go your way? How many times you failed? So many times. So then you get a label. And what is this label? I'm a failure. Or I'm frustrated that things don't happen my way. Shubha, Ashubha, Parityagi. Stop giving these labels. Yes, when you decide to perform an action, you have some result in mind. That's natural, that is normal. But when the result comes, you don't need to collapse it as only as success or failure, because you don't know the mysterious ways of the universe. What seems like a failure may not be so much of a failure. So there is a lovely story of a Chinese farmer. Who has heard the story of Chinese farmer? Okay, so there is a story of Chinese farmer. I have to finish I have 2-3 verses to go, and I have 10 minutes, so I will not make it very long. Okay, so there's the Chinese farmer. He is not very wealthy. So what he decides is that I need to make some money. So he saves a lot of money. I mean, he saves some amount and he buys a horse. You know this? He buys a horse and he is very happy that now he has a horse and he can use it, right, to make some money. So he is elated, and then after a few nights the horse runs away. So all the villagers, they go to him and they say, my God, you saved so much money, put all your money in buying a horse, and now that horse has run away. What a misfortune. You have lost everything. And the farmer says, well, if it is good or bad, who knows? The villagers are wondering, what is this? It's so clear that he's lost everything. What is this? Is good or bad? Who knows? After a few days, that horse comes back with 2 other horses. All the villagers go to him and say, oh my God, look, you got a jackpot. You had invested only in 1 horse and now 3 horses you got. You are so lucky, you are so incredibly, successful or amazing, right? Look at your luck. And what does the farmer say? Good or bad? Who knows? I mean, all this we can have a huge discussion, but I'm using this story in a given way, right? I mean, I can make you discuss and I can do a lot of things with it, but right now I am short of time, right? So, then one day, farmer's son was riding the horse, one of the horses, and he fell down and he broke his leg. The whole village came and said, look, what a bad thing, right? Now you got 3 horses, but look, your son was riding on the horse and he fell down and his leg is fractured. What a tragedy. And the farmer says, good or bad, who knows? Then that country was going, had war against the neighboring kingdom. So the king was recruiting all the young people to go to the army. So in the village, all the young kids were taken and recruited to go to the army to fight with the neighboring kingdom. But his son, who had fallen down and he had a fracture, he didn't have to go because he could walk. So the whole village came and said, oh, you are so lucky. We had to give, all our young kids were recruited. We had no choice. What does it mean? Any event that you label categorically as good or bad, in the long run, who knows how it is going to turn out to be. So Surya makes his students do this exercise. He says, think about things in your life which you thought of as huge failures and you were so disappointed at that time when things didn't happen this way. And now, in hindsight, see, was it as bad as when it happened and what you thought, how terrible it was? And what do all of them say? Not as bad as we thought at that time. It opened up some other door. it created some other possibilities. Shubha, Shubha, Parityagi. Not be so categorical about even the result and not labeling it as success or failure. It's actually ultimately everything that is given to you is either you can take it as a failure or you can learn from it and move forward. The first time Chandrayana, they could not land, failure, but it paved the way for the second time to happen. Success or failure? Success or failure?
No.
Everything is like that. So you make your life, right? If you keep labeling everything as failure, where are you going to be? Depressed and down in dumps. But everything can become a potential opportunity for you to grow and potentially learn and evolve, and perhaps you learn a lot more. And anybody who has reached any peak, how many times they have failed before they reached that peak? So many times. It's part of life. But if you make it heavy for you, what will happen? You don't move forward. And you add further opinions. And you further make it heavy. Things which are fluid, you fix them and make them constant, and you operate from them. Possibilities are missed out. Yoman bhaktas sametriyaha. That bhakta who is living with certain openness, certain ability and malleability, and say, yeah, whatever happens, then I will find a way, I'll move forward. Who knows? And life is about a fair share of amazing things happening to you, fair share of challenges. Nobody is spared from that. So instead of sitting and complaining, just move forward. And labeling everything, just move forward. Take it as an opportunity to evolve. Right? So, okay. Now, next. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samasanga vivarjitaha. What does it mean? Who wants to read?
The one who is the same with reference to an enemy and a friend, so too honor and disgrace, the same with reference to cold, heat, pleasure, pain, and free from attachment.
Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, so who can be totally same with reference to sama shatraucha mitrecha? Who can be exactly the same with reference to people who you think have harmed you and people who you think are your friends? Who can be exactly the same?
Only a machine.
Only a machine. So what happens is, here what is talked about is something interesting, and this is where we can draw from Mahabharata and see that how Lord Krishna was. That, look, suppose I ask you, who did he prefer, Kauravas or Pandavas? What will you say? Pandavas. You can say, more friendly, right? Now, among Pandavas, who did he like the most? Arjuna. So, does it mean that the person is looking at everyone exactly equally? Is it possible? If Krishna had preference, then what? Definitely he is not advising you not to have preference. So, what does it mean? Samashatro Mitreja. Even though, right, he did like Pandavas more than Kauravas, he was not totally dismissive of Kauravas. He gave them a chance. And what are the chances he gave them? First, he did not totally dismiss Duryodhana and said that Duryodhana has been repeatedly violating dharma, and he is so greedy that there is no point in going and talking to him. Did he totally dismiss him? No, he gave him a chance. I will go and negotiate. Let me see what happens. Because you never know. The person has behaved in a certain way 90 times. Doesn't necessarily mean 91 time. He is going to behave exactly the same. The probability may be high, but it's not fixed. So giving that chance. Giving that chance to somebody who he knew very clearly was, a little deluded. Now, when the negotiations failed, Duryodhana was pretty rude to him and he walked out. He didn't let him insult him. But that same Duryodhana, when war was declared, Duryodhana went to ask him for his help. He went to Lord Krishna and he wanted Lord Krishna's help in the war. After having insulted him when he went to negotiate, did Lord Krishna hold on and said, when I came to negotiate, you were so rude, I'm not going to give you anything? No. How clever he was. And what did he do? So both Arjuna and Duryodhana came. Duryodhana came first and he sat near, when Lord Krishna was sleeping, he sat near the head. And Arjuna he came later, but he sat near his feet. And he opened his eyes and he says, Arjuna gets to choose first. I will help both. But Arjuna gets to choose first because I saw him first. And what is his offer? Either me, who is not going to fight, I won't fight and I will not participate in the war, but I can be on your side. Or on the other side, my entire army, including all the weapons and horses and elephants and all the people and everything. And Arjuna chose non-fighting Krishna. And Duryodhana, what did he want? He wanted the army because he saw no value for non-fighting Krishna. What will he do? He'll be a nuisance. Whereas for Arjuna, he had the skills, he had the abilities, he had everything. The only thing which would make a difference between winning the war and losing the war is presence of Krishna on his side. Two totally different human beings, totally different criteria for choosing. And look how Krishna, there is such a twist because Duryodhana got exactly what he wanted. But it was not enough for him to win the war. But where did Lord Krishna operate from? No spillovers, no building stories, no getting back. Every time it's a fresh decision. And it is that decision is not contaminated by all the past behaviors and loads. At that time, this person, yes, he has done this, I understand. But this war is going to really caused so much destruction, it deserves my trying. Fresh decision. He was lucid about the nature, how Duryodhana was, but he was not totally dismissive. Samashatrauja mitreja. Everybody deserves a chance. You can't write off anybody. After having insulted him, then again it's a fresh event. He comes and asks for help. That event is not seen with all the past baggage. It's a fresh event and it requires fresh assessment. You may like some people, you may not like people, but your decisions are not biased or prejudiced. Samashatrauja mitreja. You're not partial. You give everybody a fair chance. So, this certain neutrality that we all have to work for, right? So, mana apamana yoga. So, honor and disgrace. And that is also being realistic about life. Whoever you are, has there been any person who has never been criticized by anybody? Rama, people have issues. Even till today, people have issues with Rama. How he treated Sita. They don't see the spirit of who Rama was. And they have issues with Krishna. Oh, he played all dirty tricks during the war. They criticize him, dismissive of him. They don't see who he was. What does it mean? Even Rama and Krishna are subject to criticism because people look at them not for what they are. They look at them through their eyes, which are so small and so colored and so biased, and they see all the problems out there. Nobody can escape certain amount of mana and apamana. If your mind is always working on, I only want respect from others, what will happen? And if I don't get respect from others, I'm down. I lose my self-confidence. I'm shaky. My self-image is all shaken because somebody is criticizing me. Somebody doesn't approve of what I'm doing. Who is this person? Insecure. Constantly wanting approval of others. People pleaser. Wants to be seen as a good person. What does it mean? Your behaviors are based on your values and not based on seeking approval of others. If I come and I teach and I'm constantly seeking your approval, what will I do? I'll agree with everything that you say. Everybody will love me. But who will learn? Nobody. Because all your opinions are validated. That means whatever you knew is validated. What new did you learn? And if I correct, you may project on me that she was rude to me or she doesn't like me. I have to take that risk. I have to. Because my focus is not on pleasing you and making you feel good. My focus is on making you understand and stretch yourself and move beyond. If you knew everything, you wouldn't be here. So what does it mean? I have to pull you up. For pulling you up, I have to sometimes disagree. And that's okay. That's part of the game. But that's not, as long as I'm clear that I'm not being dismissive of you. That's my job as a teacher. What happens is, if the what I choose to do is not contaminated by my wanting respect from you. It is doing what needs to be done. And if there is some criticism, when I'm doing what needs to be done, I can deal with it. It's okay. I can understand that and I can clarify. It's okay. Taking that risk. When you have certain expectation that everybody should love me, everybody has to respect me, you are maladapted to realities. There is no person who's like that. If you expect my life has to be smooth, it's not possible. Everything has to happen my way. There should be no challenges in my life. Everything I will do, I'll follow dharma and I'll do all the rituals. Everything will go my way. Is it true? And then you go to an astrologer and he'll say, yeah, that cause is still. So then you have to do that, and that cause is still, and that cause is still. You are forever trying to fix causes so that everything is smooth. But there is never going to be a time when everything is smooth. Just understand that. Just learn to deal with it. Why? Because there is never going to be a time that you have taken care of all the causes. You can minimize, you can mitigate, you can do all of that. But the expectation that when I do all of this, everything will be smooth is not possible. Because not only the past causes and others' causes, but also your present causes are all over the place. How will you get everything exactly as you want or everything smooth? It's not possible. So when you live life, you have to be realistic. Wanting everybody to respect you is a futile attempt. No matter who you are, somebody will find fault with you because they are seeing with their values, seeing you. And that cannot derail you so much, that cannot shake you so much, that cannot make you lose confidence in yourself. That is a certain place that you create for yourself. That center which is strong. Center which is not so fragile, which is so shaky. And little somebody shakes you and you fall down. What is this? All these are qualities of bhakta. You become this person. Living from values, living from your integrity, living from certain understanding. Not scattered all over. Okay, next. Tulya nintastutir mauni santushto yena kenachita aniketastiramatihi bhaktiman me priyo narama. So mana pamana yoho and tulya ninda stuti is similar when people praise you or people criticize you. Santushto yena kenachit, disciplined in speech. So speech is something that we need to little bit be careful because speech, there are certain rules of speech. And what are those rules? Satyam vada, priyam vada, hitam vada. And what is satyam vada? As much as possible, there is a certain alignment between what you think and what you say. So it's not like you're thinking something and you're saying something. So that is satyam vada. But when you are saying something what you are thinking, priyam vada. What does it mean? Even if you are telling the truth, the story doesn't end there. Suppose you are in somebody's home for dinner and she made something and she made with lot of love and you didn't like it. So suppose she asked you, oh, how do you like it? Do you say, oh, it's awful? Even though it's truth, what? It's not pleasing. Priyambada. Priyambada means you need not say, oh, this is my favorite food and I love it and all. You don't need to say that. What would you say? Which is Satyam, but also Priyam.
Perhaps you can say, I'm so grateful that you made so much effort to do this for me.
Excellent.
I'm very pleased about that.
Yeah,
And I
because,
feel the friendship.
yeah, because that's the truth.
Yeah.
Right? You're not talking that I love this food. You're saying you made an effort, and that's the truth, and that you appreciate. Do you understand? So what it means is, even when you want to praise somebody or you want to speak the truth, think about what you want to emphasize. Right? And suppose she said, did you like it? Well, you can you can say, I don't know what, but Now she will only tell you.
Yes.
What do I say?
I can say, listen, I didn't eat that for a long time because this meal is not good for me. My doctor told me blah 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 blah. Yes, and the taste is a little bit too strange for me. Something like
Okay.
that.
So what you can say is that I mean, first acknowledge the fact that she's made a lot of effort, and then you can say, yeah, sometimes this doesn't suit me so much. So it's not like you have to criticize, oh, this is awful or whatever, but say it in a way which is not offending, but be truthful. Satyam vada, priyam vada, hitam vada. What is hitam vada? Before you speak, ask yourself, what is this conversation going to do? And why am I starting this conversation? Am I starting this conversation to complain to this person, complain and say you are horrible? Or to blame the person? Or you are starting a conversation to solve a given issue? What is your focus? So I had a very interesting conversation. One mom came to me and she said that my daughter is very rude to me. She tells me off and she tells in front of everyone. She speaks really not nicely and it really hurts me. So I said, then why don't you talk to her? She says, no, because she herself has some health issues. So if I tell her something, as it is she's suffering and she tries to be brave, but with me, she just, shows her real self and all her dissatisfaction or all her frustration, she just releases with me. So if I tell her that don't talk to me like this, again it will increase her burden. So I don't want to tell anything. So I said, now, so what is the outcome of you not telling her anything? You are suffering. Then I told her, do you think after she is rude and screaming at you, she is happy? You've never had a conversation about who is happy, who is not happy. But what do you think? She is happy? Who is happy? Nobody is happy. What it means is, neither you are happy nor she is happy. Nobody is talking about it. Because after, screaming and all, you also feel bad. You don't feel good. So I said, you have a conversation with her, but your intention is not to tell her that you have been very rude and now you have to stop because this is my boundary. You have to see that both of us are suffering. And how can we both get out of our suffering? Do you understand? You're not talking to tell the other person off. You're trying to solve an issue so the situation becomes much more comfortable for you to. Even before you start a conversation, get your intentions right. If you start with that intention, even though it may be not so easy as the conversation goes along, but at least hitam bada. What is hitam? You are starting it to solve the problem. You are not starting it to blame somebody. It's a completely different place from where that talking is coming from. That makes all the difference. How you conduct yourself, how you express yourself, what you want out of that conversation. Reframe. So, this is something that is very, very important that, when you speak, right, disciplined in speech. So, get things right, intentions right, what you want right. Keep it issue-based, not blaming anybody. Trying to solve things which need to be solved, not to accuse somebody. And get your frustration out or blame. All this doesn't lead anywhere. Right? So what he says is, all of this person is beloved to me. Then last verse. Ye tu dharmyamrutamidam yathoktam paryupasate shraddhana matparamaha bhaktaste vipriya. He ends the verse by saying what? Who wants the last word?
However, those who follow this life that is in keeping with Dharma, leading to immortality, as was told, who are endowed with Shraddha, and for whom I am the ultimate, those devotees are exceedingly beloved to me.
So, good. So, being the master teacher, Lord Krishna connects the last verse to the first verse. What was the first verse? What is the question of Arjuna? For those who want liberation, what do? Do they contemplate on the final truth, or being an individual, they enter into relationship with you? What is he saying? Those who are striving for immortality. So that means he acknowledges that this conversation is not just any bhakta. This bhakta wants shreyas. Wants, right? But on the way, the person, what does the person do? Entering into relationship with Ishvara transforms oneself. Those who have done that, what Lord Krishna says is, they are exceedingly beloved to me. Why they are exceedingly beloved to him? Because they are doing what is necessary to get to the final goal. They are not skipping the steps and only contemplating on some truth without, taking initiatives and becoming this person who deserves this knowledge. So one thing that Swamiji used to say, that this is a huge knowledge. This is the ultimate. You can't better anything than you are the whole. You can't better this knowledge. In order for you to receive this knowledge, you have to become a deserving recipient of this knowledge. And deserving recipient for this, the biggest knowledge possible is to take initiatives and become this person. And then see the magic. What? With Shraddha. With Shraddha means every effort that I make is not going to go to waste. As every angularity goes, every distortion goes, my mind and its processes become straighter, more straightforward, less influenced by all these fancies and raga-dveshas and distortions and whatever. As I make effort in different areas of my life, do it with sincerity, do it with commitment, everything will begin to clean up. Everything will begin to clean up very organically. Life will begin to flow. Mind will not see things as black and white. See the presence of Ishvara everywhere. And is not see the presence of Ishvara and become passive. Use intelligently one's life. And get to the goals that one has to achieve. But in the process of achieving those relative goals, you become bigger. You become more objective. You become more connected. Then what is the final outcome? If you have made this effort, then the final step of what the teaching, you and Ishvara are essentially one. That will take place very naturally. Om Tat Sat. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Bhakti Yoga Nama Dvadashodhyaya. This is the 12th chapter. Where is it? In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which also has the status of Upanishad. What is taught in Upanishad is exactly what is taught in Bhagavad Gita. What is the subject matter? Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra. Two subject matters. Brahma Vidya, the final truth, and Yoga Shastra, the preparation that is necessary to get to the final truth. Two subject matters, both of Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. In morning Upanishad, where is Yoga Shastra? Is Lord Yama talking about all of this? He's not talking about all of this. Then where is Yoga Shastra? No, in Upanishad, where is Yoga Shastra?
Getting alive with Ishvara.
The story of Nachiketa. Who is Nachiketa? What happened to him? How did he respond to what happened to him? This is Yoga Shastra. What is Yoga Shastra? It gives you an insight into who is the one who asked the question and who gets it. It is told in form of a story of Nachiketa. That is Yoga Shastra. Don't think that only these verses are Yoga Shastra. It is presented in different ways. How many qualities we saw in Nachiketa, which then made him eligible for this knowledge. So, Yoga Shastra can be taught through the verses of Gita, which explicitly, where here Lord Krishna is talking about all the attitudes, what you can do, what are the initiatives you can take, in which area. But please don't think in Upanishad, Upanishad only talks about knowledge, and Bhagavad Gita talks only about growth. No, both talk about both. This is why iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu. Thus is said in Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. And for both, what are the topics? Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra. Both have topics of Brahma Vidya, the final truth, and what makes you prepared. It is delivered in different ways, but it is taught even in Upanishad. Not that Upanishad is only for truth and Bhagavad Gita is only for growth. No. Both have both. Different ways. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvada. Here it's a dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. And what is the topic? Bhakti. What kind of bhakti Lord Krishna is talking about? Ananya bhakti. For somebody who wants moksha, who brings Ishvara in one's life. And that bringing Ishvara brings about a very deep, profound transformation in the person. And that person then gets to know the final truth. So, this is chapter 12. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam